Hey guys. And if you're wondering why the screen is black, it's because I can see the chat so much easier when the screen is black. How is everybody? Samara, give a dog a bone. Oh Blue, Greg, Meerkat, Jane. How's everybody? I'm back in Indiana for a minute, and the weather is great. It didn't. Hey, Unknown, Capone, Puss in Boots. Weather didn't get above 80 today. I got my pumpkin spice, caramel apple, hayride in the hoedown smellies going. Angel Roth, Carla Marie, Kathy K. Cleaned the house, took a shower, didn't put on makeup, didn't do my hair. Got my fuzzy jammies on. Bailey, Witz, Denise. Your first Truth Live? No way. Hey, Lab. Hope I got some wrenches in here because I'm not going to stay on long. And because, it is Saturday, so God only knows how many live streams will be going tonight. But Trisha Not Trish, hey. So, Cuban Witch. So, I'm really not in the mood for the trolls. Traveling Nana, Heidi Day. So, I hope we got some wrenches in here. Well, something was brought to my attention. Hey, Pearls. We're going to do a little talking. Hey, Serendipity. We're going to do a little talking about the true definition of being a bully. Hey, Mimi. Because it gets thrown around a lot. Being a bully gets thrown around a lot. Angel. Hey, Mark. Nenny C. Blue Girl. Being a bully, that word gets... Traveling Nana. Just, hello, everybody. The word bully gets thrown around so much, man, especially around YouTube. Because just because you clap back at somebody doesn't make you a bully. But I'm going to read you the definition of bullying. And then I'm going to read you what made me look up this definition. And I'm not making this up. You can grab a dictionary and feel free to follow along. But I'm going to... As soon as I get back to where I had it. It's on my thumbnail, but... Okay, well, first of all, let's start with some comments that I saw today. And I didn't, before anybody, Republican Ash, if you're listening, I was not in your live stream. I was not following you. Please don't shit yourself over this. It's a screenshot that I saw. And I just had to address it. So, from what I can see, Brian says, Nicole is asking me to leave YouTube. Then he says, people are hurting her. And then Lennon says, I hate how they mess with you, Brian. It's so disgusting. And then Brian says, yes, go back and look at Keck's Live. And then Brian says, they are upsetting her. Okay. Nothing in Laura's live mentioned anything about Nicole's disability. Now, who always brings up Nicole's disability? That would be Brian, right? Not us. Nobody on YouTube. Never seen it. It just doesn't happen. I'm trying to get back to that definition. Darn it. Okay. Darn it. This is really pissing me off. Because I'm trying to get back to... Okay. Now, let me read you the definition of bullying. Of being a bully. The definition of being a bully is a person who habitually seeks to harm or intimidate those whom they perceive as vulnerable. Okay? That's why you don't hear me say, I'm being bullied. Because I don't consider myself vulnerable. I do have vulnerable parts of me, such as my son. And people know this. People know this, that, that's something that comes, that really hurts me. And Brian knows this. I mean, it's been made clear. But let's read this again. A person who habitually seeks to harm or intimidate those whom they perceive as vulnerable. Okay? Now think about this for a minute, guys. And I'm sorry about my last live stream where I was ranting and raving and carrying on like a village idiot, but let's think about this for a minute. No one talks about Nicole's disability. But Brian drags her in front of a camera to tell her that people are talking about her disability. Who's being the bully there? Who's being the bully there? In my opinion, that's Brian being the bully to Nicole. That's not any of us out here on YouTube. Because first of all, Nicole doesn't even do YouTube. She's made it very clear that she doesn't like the drama. She's not into social media. She plays her games on her tablet. Brian has said that himself. Hello, Tony C. Brian has said that himself. She doesn't like social media. So she's not being bullied out here. She's being bullied within her own home by her own husband, boyfriend, whatever y'all want to say. I'm going to just go with the fact that they're married. Brian says they're married. I have no reason to doubt it. Whatever. I don't care if they're married or... Hello, Square Knots. I don't care if they're married or if they're not. It makes me no never mind. But the definition of bullying, once again, let's go over this. A person who habitually seeks out to harm or intimidate those whom they perceive as vulnerable. Okay? So that's not somebody clapping back on YouTube, and that includes Brian. When he's clapping back at somebody, that's not bullying. Hello, Only Fools Live, Harry Dix. That's not bullying. When Brian's clapping back at somebody, that's not bullying. Bullying is when he drags his wife in front of a camera to try to convince her that people out here are saying bad things about her when in fact it's not true. But let's just say it was true. Let's just say people out here were speaking poorly about his wife. And we all know it's not happening. There's been no proof given. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt. In his own mind, he thinks people are speaking poorly about his wife. Hello, Kim A. As somebody that you love dearly, would you try to protect them from that? Or would you rub it in their face? Would you bring it to their attention? If it was happening. We all know it's not happening. Well, you say Katie bullied his wife and kids big time last night over and over. Retarded word thrown at him and his family. Don't say it's not true. I heard it on Katie's last night. Okay, Warrior Gamma. Now, you want to say that the retarded word is bad, okay? And I couldn't agree with you more. I hate that word. I despise that word. But do you know who uses that word all the time, Warrior Gamma? Brian does. Now, think about what you just said. Katie said something about his wife. First of all, Katie had no idea that Brian's wife has a disability. I don't know how she could miss that, because God knows he talks about it all the time. Secondly, she says, you and your wife created a killer, a baby killer. Was that nice to say? No. But Nicole is not Luke's mother. So in reality, Katie wasn't speaking about Nicole. So, back to bullying. Okay? So this isn't about Katie. This is about what I said, the definition of bullying. A person who habitually seeks to harm or intimidate those whom they perceive as vulnerable. Now, who goes for your most vulnerable spot? Who does that? Who goes for the one spot they think they can get you at? Who doxes people's elderly parents? Who has told someone who, no offense, Justin Katz, if you're out there in YouTube land, but who has attacked someone that is obviously not, all there? No offense, Justin Katz, I don't know how else to put it. Who says that they're rapist when they're not a rapist? Because that's what he accused Justin Katz of. I mean, I don't know how much lower you can strike than that. Yes, Katie did apologize. I'm sure whatever, they're working things out between Brian and Katie. That's their business. This is about bullying. And as I said before, when Brian is clapping back at somebody, that's not bullying. That's not bullying. When somebody is clapping back at somebody, that's not bullying. But when you seek to harm or intimidate, remember that word, intimidate, those they perceive as vulnerable. See, that's why you don't, you don't hear me say I'm being bullied, because I don't consider myself vulnerable. I have vulnerable aspects in my life, and that would be my son and his past addiction problems. And Brian knows this. So when Brian strikes, he strikes me there. So he doxes, and he's proud of it. He calls people's families, and he's okay with it. He is the only one that speaks of his wife's disability, but yet leads her to believe that others out here are doing this. So he intimidates people. He tries to tell them what they can and cannot do on their channels, which, by the way, Republican Ash, you do that too, and that's a form of bullying. Think about this, because this really struck me. When I saw these comments from Brian saying that Nicole is asking him to get off YouTube, that people are really hurting her. Nicole's not on YouTube. So even if these things were being said about his wife, and they're not, but even if they were, Nicole wouldn't have a clue, would she? Would Nicole have a clue if Brian wasn't dragging her over to the computer and trying to make her believe something that's just not happening? And again, when I love someone, I try to protect them from the ugliness of the world. In this case, the ugliness of YouTube. I try to protect them. So, when I saw those comments from Brian, I thought, now wait a minute. Everybody says bullying. Everybody says, oh, this one's a bully or this one's a bully or, I've been called a bully. That one's a bully. Clapping back at somebody coming at you is not bullying. And that goes for Brian too. When Brian is clapping back at somebody for going at him, that's not bullying. It's how he claps back, how he intimidates, how he tries to go for your most vulnerable spot. If you've had past addiction problems, he goes for your addiction. If you have elderly parents or children that's had addiction problems, he goes for that. So, do you all see where I'm coming from here? Is this, is this ringing true with you all as much as it did me? Because, once again, when I decided today, I said, I'm going to look up the definition of bullying. Because I just feel like it's getting thrown around out there and it's just not what it is. Clapping back is not bullying. Going live and telling you to fuck off and, exactly. He does hit below the belt. He hits way below the belt. He hits where you're the most vulnerable. Whether it's your channel that you want to do something with and make it something, then he strikes at your channel. If you do this, I'm going to take your channel down. If you do that, I'm going to take your channel down. Or he strikes at your children with past addiction or current addiction problems. Or he strikes at you for your past addiction and your current. The true definition of bullying is what he did to that family. Because so many people got so tired of Brian's internet behavior that they decided to clap back. I don't know who these people are. Brian knows I was not a part of that page. I was not a part of that. But they decided to clap back. You can't strike me for saying your name, Republican Ash, but nice try there, girlfriend. And not a good thing to come in here and threaten me, Ash. It won't work, okay? Okay, Republican Ash. Just because you're a pussy and take your videos down because you don't want your mommy to see them. See, that's not bullying. Ash came in here and started shit. I'm a liar? You're yet to prove me a liar, Ash. You're yet to prove me a liar. Exactly. Maybe you need to keep a lot of people's name out of your mouth, Republican Ash. Ash, you can write liar all you wanted. Don't make it true. I don't go in her live streams. Since she decided she wanted nothing to do with us, I've not been in her live stream. Not once. Not gone in there and caused trouble. But Ash seems to think she can talk about anybody she wants. But nobody else can talk about anybody. And by the way, Ash, I'm pretty sure I didn't mention Mary Ann But way to go. Way to put it out there, girlfriend. Way to put it out there. So now run on back there to your channel and try to strike me, okay? Go on. Run along. So, back to being a bully. Yes, she justified Brian putting up info on Capone. Everything that people have done in the past that Ash absolutely just found deplorable, she is now backing. She is now being a representative of. So, go ahead, Ash. Go back and try to strike my channel for saying your name. You do not own the name Republican, nor do you own the name Ash. So, yes. Yes. Remy's and Marianne's doxers have been blocked. Republican Ash's doxers have been blocked. But whatever. This ain't about Republican Ash. Go on back there, girlfriend. She did used to be so sweet. Hello, Crazy Mama 3. Get rid of Dante. Anybody that comes in here and says, huh, what's this? Doesn't need to be here. Ash did used to be so sweet, but she's changed, and that's on her. I don't care anymore. I had my moment of being sad. I'm over it. I'm over it. So, back to being a bully, and back to hitting somebody where it hurts. And where it hurts is exposing people's families and putting their phone numbers out there. And Ash had that done to her recently, you know, and it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. Okay, puss. It's absolutely unacceptable. But that's where a particular YouTuber, that's where he goes. That's where he strikes. That's what he does. He hits you where he knows. I'm sorry, Wiggle Jiggle. I don't know what's going on with her, but I'm to the point I'm tired of trying to figure it out. So good luck to her. Good luck to her blog, whatever. Don't come up in my live stream and tell me who I can and cannot talk to or talk about. Not going to fly. So I'm sure she's over there trying to figure out how to strike me. And if this stream goes down and she does strike me, then I'm going to fight it. And I'm going to have all of her info and she's going to have all of mine. And then we can just go tit for tat. Because the way that works is she strikes, I fight it, then she has to take it to court. We all know how this works. So I just gave you a lesson in how it works, Ash. If you strike me, then I dispute it, and then you have to take it into court because at this point YouTube says, I don't want no part of it. So if you don't believe me, go ask Diane or whoever. They'll tell you how a strike works. That's why Laura's channel didn't stay shut down. They are using Ash. But you know what? That's on her, man. That's on her. That's what she just said. She was going to strike me for saying her name. Yes, when Brian was so mean to her, we all stuck up for her, Pearls. We did. Every one of us. But that's neither here nor there, you know. She has her new group. She needs to stay in her new group. Don't come in my live stream. She tried doing this stuff with Stewie. Tried telling Stewie what he could and could not say on his channel. And he put her in her place. Hey, Susie Q. Badger Girl, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to see you. I know you can't strike for saying their name. I know. Another creator tried to tell me that she could strike me for using her name. I was like, you know what? I'm going to change it, but I'm going to do it because I feel like it. He did call her repulsive names. He called her retarded, said she pissed her bed, but she's forgiven him. So that's between them. Let them, that's between Ash and Brian. But we're talking about actual bullies here. And I've read the definition of being a bully repeatedly. And we all know who that definition fits to a T. We all know. Hello, Irene. I don't know, Quilts and Crime. I don't know. She wants to tell me to leave her name out of a stream, and then she wants to tell me to leave Marianne's name out of a stream, and I don't think I even said Marianne's name. None of this had anything to do with Marianne. By the way, I've heard that Marianne's mother is ill. Please, everybody, say a prayer for her. Because no matter how much we fight on here, I don't think that there might be a handful of people that really want to see something bad happen to somebody. I'm not one of them. I don't want to see anything bad happen to somebody's mother or themselves. But I just found it really unusual to read those comments from Brian saying that Nicole wants him to leave YouTube and, that people are really hurting her when nobody's hurting her but him. Yes, prayers for MT's mom, of course. Prayers up. I would love to get word somewhere down the road that, she's doing much better and yeah, exactly. I'd love to get word somewhere. Right, okay. Huckleberry says all positive vibes because she doesn't pray. That's cool. Whatever you got, throw them up for Marianne's mom. I'm a firm believer God listens, so. Healthy, just big. How can I email you the truth? I was going to say it's in my description, but that's my PayPal. It's not my email. I don't know. Somebody can drop it in here, I guess. What the hell? Everybody has it anyways. It's moneytracey, Tracey, at gmail.com. And it should be Monet, but they wouldn't let me do a separation in it. So it is what it is. Yes, I believe in prayers. So, like I said, everybody's throwing up prayers for Marianne's mom. Because no matter what happens here on YouTube, I don't have to particularly like Marianne. I don't particularly have to care for the things she says, especially when she talks about my vagina. But doesn't mean I want any harm to come to her. Doesn't mean I want her heart to hurt. Doesn't mean I want her to feel the pain of losing a parent or anything like that. I mean, God, that's horrible. I mean, that's just horrible. So prayers up. Hopefully, somewhere down the road, we'll get, word through the tube that her mother's doing better. Yes, Sarah. Sarah says, I'm alive because of prayer, so I'll say one for her mom. Of course. When I heard today that her mom, hey, Gossip Girl, when I heard today that her mom had fallen ill, I immediately got quiet, had a little talk with God. People need their mothers for as long as they can keep them. It broke my heart when I lost my mom. I mean, it just totally turned me, it just broke my freaking heart. So I don't want anybody to ever suffer that pain. I'm not sure, Irish Girl, what's wrong with her mom. I wouldn't even begin to talk about it other than, prayers, because I don't want to start rumors. I don't, I just was told by a very reliable source that cares a lot about, that thinks a lot of Marianne, and they said that her mom is ill. And I said, prayers to her there, No, I don't wish that kind of hurt on anybody either, Everett. I lost my mother. When I lost my mother, other than my son, I lost the most important person in my world. Yes, we need to remember that we are human beings first and foremost. And I think I think the low blows. Of course you miss your mom and dad. I've lost both my parents too. It broke my heart to lose my dad, but I got to be honest with you, me and my mom, we were thick as thieves. So were me and my dad, but in a whole different way. I was definitely daddy's girl. Mandolin, praying for her mom. It almost killed me losing mine. I would never wish that on anyone. I hope her mom is okay. I agree. Mandolin. But, like I said, we're talking about bullying. And bullying is not clapping back. Bullying is intimidating someone. Bullying is striking somebody in their most vulnerable area. Bullying is when you know somebody's vulnerabilities and you use them to your advantage. At least I had what, Tony C? Oh, yeah, some people don't have that parent relationship, so I'm sorry for all of us that's lost a parent. I've lost a brother. That was heartbreaking. I've lost both of my parents. It's hard, man. It's hard. And it's not the kind of pain I would wish on anybody. Nobody. But see, I just put something out to me very vulnerable. I just put one of my vulnerabilities out there. And that's losing my mom and my dad and my brother. So if somebody decides to strike me and use that against me, oh, Mandy Lynn, I'm sorry she died on Mother's Day of all days. That is horrible. And Mother's Days are never the same once you lose your mother, regardless of what day it is, but that is horrible. But yes, if you have lost your parents, you've lost your siblings, you've lost your significant other, that's hard, man. It hurts, and it hurts for a long time. It hurts forever. So that's a vulnerability of people, like people with elderly parents, who at any given moment. No, Miss Nevins, it's not what Laura did to Marianne last night. So go back and listen to Laura's live stream. And keep in mind that Marianne was online taunting Laura by creating a channel and streaming her live stream, and while the whole time making keck jokes. And so, Miss Nevins, please get your story straight before you come in here and say stuff, okay? No offense. But that's the kind of vulnerability I'm talking about. So now people know that that's very vulnerable. I'm very vulnerable when it comes to my mother, to my father, to my brother, to the loss of my peeps. And certain people will use that against me, I'm sure. And when they do, shame on them. Shame on them. It won't break me. It won't break me. But when you use that kind of thing against somebody, now let's take this a step further. Some people will say, well, what about what you all say to Brian about his son? Let me explain that. I've said 1,000,000 times, yes, she was going hard, spamming MGL's live, keck, every bit of it. Yes, I'm sorry for Marianne's pain right now, but it doesn't excuse behavior. It wouldn't excuse any of ours. But let's go a step further. People say, well, what do you say about what you say to Brian about his son? I have said it once, I have said it 100 times. I do not hold Brian responsible for what his son did. I hold Brian responsible for what he did. This is for Tucker, Sam, and Lolly, and Fuzz the cat. But Mary Ann was in Molly Golightly's stream yesterday. Yes. So, like I said, I understand that ICU only has certain hours. I understand that. We all just sit and said prayers for Mary Ann and for her family, for her children, for, for her mother to pull through this. But she was spamming and going after Laura in her most vulnerable moment. So please, this is not about Mary Ann. I've said it again, and I'll say it again. I wish her nothing but the best. You know, people handle situations differently. But back to what I was talking about. People will say, well, what about what you do to Brian when it comes to his son? Again, I've never held Brian responsible for what his son did. I've said it 1,000,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000,001. I've never held Brian responsible for what his son did. What I hold Brian responsible for is what he did and what he continues to do. And you know, okay, we're talking about vulnerabilities. Nenny C is here, and we're talking about Brian and where he strikes. After hearing Nenny C's story, and we've all heard it, and thank God she's here with us today, but after hearing her story, where did Brian strike her? Where did he hit her? As low as he knew he could. And that's when he made the comment that bullets work wonders. I can't believe it took you 3 times and you didn't complete the job. And I could have done it on my first try. And you know what Nenny said to him in order to get that reaction? She thinks he has a low IQ. That's what she said. And that's where Brian went. That's where he struck. Because he knows it's a vulnerability. Do we remember the definition of being a bully? Do I have to read it again for those in the cheap seats? Let's read it again for those in the cheap seats. A person who habitually seeks to harm or intimidate those whom they perceive as vulnerable. Not people who clap back. Not people who clap back. And Brian gets included in that. He is allowed to clap back. It's people who strike where they know it's going to hurt the hardest. Just like he did to Katie. Did Katie say some things to Brian that were unsavory? She sure did. She sure did. And Brian struck Katie where he knew she was most vulnerable, and that's with her current body situation. Yes, he truly did show his ass on his live stream the other night. I mean, you got to give him credit. When you say Brian showed his ass, he really did. I'm not going to judge Marianne. I'm not going to judge her at all. I'm not going to judge the fact that she's on social media while she's going through such turmoil. This is not about Marianne. People deal with things in their own way. But, you know, don't come in here and say Laura attacked her, or that for Ash to come in here and say, keep Marianne out of your mouth, when I didn't even bring Marianne up at that point. And then when I did bring Marianne up, it was prayers for her mother and for her family. So, but don't come in here and say that Marianne wasn't on social media yesterday, because she was. She was in Molly Golightly's chat, spamming the shit out of it. Keck, 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 keck. So, again, not about Marianne. Prayers to her. Done with that topic. This is about bullies. Do I feel bullied? Nope. Because I'm not vulnerable. Did I just put something out there that's very vulnerable to me? Yeah. Will I probably get hit with it? Probably. Probably. That's probably where someone will strike me, is about my mother, my father, and my brother. Because that's what people do. I don't know, Ella Roan. I don't know much about it. I'm not going to sit here and talk about Marianne's situation without knowing. I don't know. I just know that I've heard that she's ill and that it's serious. And prayers up for her. Prayers up for her. Prayers up for her kids. Prayers up for her dad, her mom. Everybody that's being affected by this. You know? Damn dog, man. Shut up. Somebody get rid of fan of all sports. Oh my God, such a whiner, always miserable, what a snowflake, always offended. What, find a man, Nenny, maybe. Just get rid of him, that's not nice. You're not going to come in here and talk to Nenny that way. Okay, maybe she didn't create the other channel, but she was definitely participating in it, okay? Because when it went down, she threw up a big fuck you keck, okay? So, people from the other side. Come on now, we're not going to pick on Marianne either. This is not about Marianne. This is about fucking bullying. And we're not going to let this turn in. Yes, of course, Sandra Doris. We're not going to let this turn into, a bash fest. It's not even a bash fest for Brian. It's the definition of being a bully and who I associate with being a bully. And I associate Brian with being a bully. Because when he drags his wife over to social media, who does not participate in social media, and says people are saying things that they're not saying, that's hurting his wife. That's going for her most vulnerable spot, which is her disability. Come on, guys. Greg, quit that. That's not like you. Is that even Greg? That's not like Greg. How is that doxing, though? Remember, from the other side, people say just putting your name out there it's not doxing. You know, it's public information. Well, that's not doxing. But it doesn't need to be put out there. I don't care what her fucking name is. I don't care. I don't go there. What is so wrong, Keith K? What is so wrong? Because we're the ones that always get doxxed, you know? I've had my phone number dropped in a live stream 15 times. You know, Tawanda's been doxxed. Her job has been called. But you're right. It's wrong. It's wrong. So let's not do that. Like I said, for all the doxing that goes on, no, I'm not about bowling. I don't know what that means. I'm not about bowling. You mean bullying? Is that what you mean? Because that's what we're talking about. Okay, get rid of F3R4. Get rid of that person. Anybody that comes in here and says, what in the name of ever loving, get rid of them. Yeah, Brian put people's names, their personal Facebooks, up on his community post. I didn't see anybody tell him how wrong it was. Then again, I'm blocked from his community post, so. Sandra Doris's last name is Dix. Oh, Keith says yes. I guess he meant bullying. So, do I agree that shit like that needs to stop? Yep. Do I think the clapping back to and from is going to keep on? Yep. Listen, do you hear the high school football game going on? This is what I miss about my hometown, man. You can sit on your porch and listen to the scores over at the high school. Square Knot says, we need to come together as a community and protect each other when it comes to YouTubers like Brian St. Gone. Wrong is wrong. He harasses and takes matters outside of YouTube. I agree, Square Knots. I agree. He definitely goes way outside of YouTube. And people fear him because of that. Not me. Raise your hand if you don't fear him, because I don't, and he knows it. There's nothing more Brian can do to me, but there is things that he can do to other people. He can expose their elderly parents, which he's done. He can expose their children, which he's done. He can attack people's addictions, which he's done. Huckleberry says, I hear a high school game near me too. That's so cool, man. I miss that about my hometown. But just because I don't fear what he can do to me doesn't mean that someone else doesn't fear what he can do to them. And Square Notch just brought up a good point. You know, Laura has made a request that people quit calling her by her last name. Laura's way of dealing with it is, if you're going to call me by my last name, then I'm going to call you by your last name. You might not like the way she's handling it, but it's Laura's way of handling it. So I personally, if someone said, please quit using my last name, I would. It's no longer on her channel. Her new subs don't know it. So, yes, under the lights, De La Plante. Her new subs are not aware of it. So quit using it. Okay, is that really Kiki? Wow, this happens among the content creators in another sector. Wow. I don't think that's Kiki that I know, because no way would she come in here. Rose Gold Rocher. All right, guys, let's drop the Marianne topic, okay? She's dealing with things. We've said our prayers. Let's just drop the Marianne topics. Do I feel like Marianne would go at me if I was in the same situation? Yes, I do, but I'm not going to go there. You know, it is what it is. So no more speaking. No, Mimi, I see you. Let's just not even talk about Marianne, okay? She's handling things her own way. Whatever it is, let it be, you know? Let her go do her thing, you know? I don't want to be the bully. I don't, I don't want to strike when somebody's hurting. I don't want to do that. This is what this whole stream is about, is not striking where somebody's vulnerable. Now, nobody in here said anything disrespectful about her mother. Everybody has said their prayers, and I don't know what else, we can do other than just not talk about her. So let's just do that. I don't have any control over what she does with her time or how she handles her situations. Just like nobody has any control over what I do or how I handle my situations. We're talking about people that strike when it's, strikes when it's really, really hard. And how do you have no sound? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No, they don't use the name Keck because it was on her channel. They use it as a jab. That's what they do. They use it as a jab. Kekistan. I've heard them all. Kekstain. I've heard them all. That's not using her name just because that's how you know her. Okay, well, it's not her channel name anymore, and she doesn't want her new subs to know her by that. So she has clearly said, quit using that name, or I'm going to start using last names. And that's awfully nice of you to use one of the titles of my videos. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, for Pete's sakes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, I don't think I'm going to start a new stream, Square Knots. I think there's a lot of people going live tonight, so I don't think I'm going to start a new stream. But if you're out there, you know who I'm referring to. Brian, stop hitting people where it hurts, please. Stop hitting them with their channels. Stop hitting them with their addictions. Stop doxing their elderly parents. You want to clap back? Clap back, man. That's your right.